And the priest must take the basket out of your hand and deposit it before the altar of Jehovah your God. And you must answer and say before Jehovah your God, my father was a perishing Syrian. Again, my father was a perishing Syrian. And he proceeded to go down to Egypt and to reside there as an alien, with very few in number. But there he became a great nation, mighty and numerous. And the Egyptians, when treating us badly and afflicting us, and putting hard slavery upon us, and we began to cry out to Jehovah the God of our forefathers. And Jehovah proceeded to hear our voices and to look on our affliction and our trouble and our oppression. Finally, Jehovah brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and with great fearsomeness, and with signs and miracles. Then he brought us to this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now here I have brought the first fruits of the fruitage of the ground that Jehovah has given me. This is taken from Deuteronomy chapter 26, verses 4 through 10. Who is the perishing Syrian? They're speaking about Jacob when he came into Egypt. We know he's speaking about the Israelites. And he's speaking about the immediate patriarch to the 12 tribes. That will be Jacob. But why was he called a Syrian instead of referring to him as Hebrew, of the sons of Hebrew? He's Hebrew. He's Hebrew, certainly, through Abraham, a Shemite. But he was raised as a Syrian. By whom? His mother. His mother, Rebecca, raised him as Syrian. She is Syrian. You could say, oh, how could that person be Syrian when they're Hebrew? They're Shemite. Shemite, you might as well call it a genotype. However, the affiliation where he was taught to be, where he was brought up as, was Syrian by his parental training, or you might say nationality. Isn't that weird? Because at that point, his mother was already out of Syria, and she came over to Canaan to be with whom when she married? Isaac. But she knew the Syrian custom, and that's what she taught her son. And so when the teraphims are involved, and teraphim has to do with it's small figurines of idols. And some people use it to show potency, authority, some for fertility, and it's used for all of that. And it's also used for ancestral worship, all of that, many multiple purposes of the teraphim. And so when Jacob swore by the dread of his father, Isaac, it led to the Syrian culture. It led to the culture that gave birth, or not just gave birth, but practice ancestral worship. And so he was more Syrian in practice, although he was Hebrew by genetics. Does that make any sense? If you come from a different country and you transplant in the United States and you came here when you were a child, what's your culture? When you go back to, say, Japan, or you go back to Jamaica, when you go back to Italy, do they look at you as indigenous? Don't they say that you're American? Even the people that you are the heritage, a product of, will say, nah, you're just American. Why? Because that's your culture, that's your deportment. And his deportment was Syrian, and he had to learn Jehovah's way and learn to accept and love Jehovah.